Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Ted, hanging out with my esteemed colleagues.
Dave.
Nate.
And today we're going to talk about plot points out of the DMG 5th edition D&D, page 269.
It's also under optional rules.
Oh, optional rules, okay. Alright, so plot points. That's a way to totally muck up your D&D game by putting some more power into the hands of your players. What do you guys think?
Well, you know, a lot of this stuff, we touched on this a little bit with hero points, and I was trying to use hero points basically like plot points, because they're very similar to fate points from the fate system, and I'm sure there's other systems that were using it even prior to that. Plot points, hero points, all that stuff really go together well with creating a narrative with your players and letting them be more involved and have more control in the or just totally screwing it up. Because there's three different ways to use your plot points. One is you can add a twist, which you can basically edit the scene.
Right.
The other is you can add a complication, with, which could be whatever you can come up with. You and the villain are going for the gun, and maybe another player goes, the villain gets it, as a plot twist.
Oh, yeah. Well, if the first plot point is spent, if the plot point's spent to, the villain drops his gun, and then the player to his right or left says, okay, you both go for it, but he gets it, back. So it's kind of, because the first point is you spend it, and then you get to make some kind of choice, like, I found a secret door or something cool.
Yeah, so, and the idea is you start the game, everyone has a plot point. And
Right,
once the last person, the way they introduce them here anyway, and once the last person has spent their plot points, they refill. Everybody gets another one to kind of play with.
Right.
There's the third option. I'm not a really big
The
fan.
third option is just a bit crazy.
Well,
The third
even
option,
the gods must be crazy, is what it's called.
The third option is everybody comes to the table with a kind of idea about what the game is going to be, and you can spend your plot point to gain control. Everyone's got a player, even the DM, because the DM changes hands.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, the three of us are involved in a game. I'm running. This really crazy thing happens, and Nate's like, oh man, I want control of this. So he spends his plot point, and he's now the DM. So I think that's a little absurd.
If you go over to the one-shot group, you can find games where they're running like this. And they're not running it out of 5th edition, they were doing it before this book came out. So it's not a new concept. Chepe, or the YouTube channel Fawn, is like a big fan of this, and he runs it in his home games, and he's the one who kind of introduced it to the one shot group.
Okay.
And I look at those games and I just cringe and be like, man, that's a lot of it feels like a lot of pressure, and they do it even different. Like, it's not a point system. It's whenever certain players are playing, you're their DM.
Okay.
So if us three are in a game and Nate is is my player, so if he does something, then I take over and I GM for him. But then something else happens, and Ted takes the reins as the player and starts doing something. Well, then the GM chair might shift to Nate,
And then I say what happens to Ted.
Yeah, and it all builds off of what just happened prior.
Oh my god, that just hurts my head.
I feel like that would be hard logistically, but I think once you got the rhythm down, especially if it was like 3 or 4 people and that was it.
Yeah, they're probably
I would
doing
like
5, 6.
that better than what's explained here.
Point to take over.
Yeah, I don't like that. But if you've got assigned roles, like I know Ted's character and I know kind of what you do, but I also know what I think would make a good story. So I'm in charge of Ted pretty much.
Yeah, but the problem is you still have to use what the other GM before you used.
It's
not like that.
I don't really like
happen.
the story is that you add the next sentence and then move on.
That's essentially what you're doing.
It's not my type of game.
Yeah, I have very little interest in it myself.
There's only 2 options in the plot point section as far as I'm concerned, and the third one is for people who want to get a laugh.
Yeah. The first 2 options that's ripped right out of the Fate system. I mean, you guys out there, you might know of other systems that use the same thing.
Well, Mutants and Masterminds has the what a twist with your hero points. You can edit the scene.
Yes.
I've described it as like, okay, you're a superhero who doesn't fly, doesn't move fast, and the bad guy's getting away, and you're strong enough that you can chuck a car at him, but you ask the DM, well, do I see a... And he says no. So you say, okay, well, I'm going to use my hero point and edit the scene. Sure enough, there's a car here. I pick it up and check it.
Or someone just happens to drive by on a motorcycle. And be
Yeah.
like, I need to borrow this forever.
So, yes, you know, it's exactly what it is. And as we said with the plot thickens, there was the Ninja Turtle game that Andrew Knapp ran for us, and he was experimenting with that. He's like, you know what? You all have a thing that you can just add a complication to the scene just to muck with your other players, and it was pretty hysterical.
Yeah, so and we all basically waited for opportune moments where what would be really a horrible thing to happen right now. Yeah, that's when I use it.
I like the combination. 2 is basically the combination of 1, and with the added addition of the complication.
Well,
so it's like a backlash for basically telling a DM what's up. Like, oh, I found a secret. Well, it's trapped, and the room will start to fill with water.
The example that they use in the book is one player uses their plot point to go, there's a secret door there, and the other one goes, yeah, there is, but there's a magical trap. And they spend their point to add the complication. In the Fate system, that other player that added the complication would have actually added another plot point to the game that someone would get. Mm-hmm. So basically the way, like in the Fate system, you have aspects, and they can either give you bonuses by spending your Fate points, or you can compel them, which means it's a complication. Then if you would compel that aspect, and it would then give you another point to spend. So like if you're using this optional rule, that might be really good to use, especially with the background system that's already in place. So your flaws, your bonds, your ideals. You can instead of giving out inspiration when you do something compels, you could actually go with a plot point if you do something really bad,
right,
to screw over your players and that make it interesting.
Right.
So it's just another way to give the players more control in the story,
and to make things more interesting as well.
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of the idea. It adds to the shared experience.
Yeah, anytime you increase the shared experience, you're going to get more buy-in from your players.
So, anything else?
That was it, except for this one accounting thing. I believe option 1, you spend the point, and option 2 is when you spend the point, someone to your right or left gets to decide if there's a complication. They don't spend a point to screw you. They get to do it for free.
Interesting. So with that, what you can put in the comments below what you feel about the plot point system. While you're doing that, go ahead and click like, share, subscribe.
Check us out on nerdarchy.com.
You can also join the conversation over on Reddit.
So until next time, stay.
I like that. There's spots in that video where we